Good evening. We're going to call the City Council regular meeting to order Tuesday, April 28th at 6:30 p.m. Roll call. Kaylee?
Councilmember Stafford? Here. Councilmember Richardson? Here. Councilmember Darms? Here. Councilmember Knight?
Here.
Councilmember Thompson?
Here.
Vice Mayor Grimm?
Here.
Mayor Marks?
Here. Invocation Pledge Allegiance, Mike Carroll from Volusia County Sheriff's Office. Please rise.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. God in heaven, thank you for this day and for this night. We thank you for these men and women that serve this city, and we're grateful for them. We ask you to bless them tonight. We ask you to bless them with wisdom, with understanding, with insight, with creative solutions. We thank you for their commitment to this city and to the people of this city. And Father, we also thank you for our first responders. We're grateful for them, the ones that are here, the ones that are also out on the street protecting and watching over this city. Thank you for them. We pray blessing and peace and safety over them as well. And God, we ask you to cause this city to continue to prosper, continue to bless and protect this city, we pray. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, number one, absences, we have none. Number two, presentations and proclamations. 2A, the Levitt Gun Historic District Update presentation by Darrell Victor.
Good evening, Council. How are you? Okay, sorry, it's a little fast. I wasn't expecting to go this early, but I'm ready. Just make sure we got everything here. We have a new clicker, so I apologize if I do this wrong. I am here tonight to give part 3 of the presentation of the Levitt Gun Corridor. It is an area that marks between Graves Avenue and University. It's North Levitt Avenue. I don't know why I keep saying road in the past. I apologize. It's Avenue, it's Avenue, it's Avenue. And it is an area that is outside of the historic district. I know we go back and forth and I keep pedantically repeating it, but it's very important that this talk is the third talk on 3 properties that are historically and vitally important to Orange City. And with the school going down, it actually, and I always like bringing good news to the council and to the city, we have linkage to why that side of the street is now vitally important to Orange City and the properties that are there. Some of these slides are going to be review, but I want so everyone can see that we are, since this is the third part of the talk, that we understand what we're talking about. So there's a hand-drawn map. You have, my little clicker. We have Graves over here, University over here, Orange City Elementary, and here are the 3 properties: 200 Levitt Road, 209, and 244. 200 Levitt Road is the original homestead of the Levitt family. 209 is the homestead of Abigail Gunn, also known as the Gunnery, and 244 is the home of Helen Andrews Thompson, who we're going to talk about tonight. This is a property we haven't talked about, and why this property, actually, even though it's the newest property, historically speaking, is going to turn out to possibly be the most vital property, Orange City. Just for a side note, 209, after Abigail Gunn passed away, came into the possession of Helen Thompson. Since the whole families knew each other from Connecticut, this whole area was historically known as Connecticut Corner. So I probably want to amend it from the Levitt Gun Corridor to Connecticut Corner, which reflects what historically it was known as. This is the property we're talking about today. It's 244 North Levitt Avenue. This property was built, though the deed office says in 1910, we have absolute proof that it was built in 1914. It was in the Tampa Bay Times. I don't know why it was in the Tampa Bay Times, but it was. And we have the actual move-in date, which is kind of unique for older homes. And it may turn out on our research that this home may be the oldest example of a bungalow-style home in Orange City as well. Just a quick review on how this all played out in Orange City history is that we have pioneers from Connecticut, a majority of them from a place called Washington, Connecticut and Litchfield County, went off to the west to settle the frontier. They were, and some of them came directly from Connecticut to Orange City. The Levitts, the ones we're talking about, went out to the west to a place called Portage, Wisconsin, when it was still quite wild. And we have the diaries of the son, who also sat on this council, that reflect that. In fact, we had bits and pieces of information about these diaries that they existed, and we have been able to find the entire bits of the diary. We just found the last remainder of the diary, which denotes him getting married to the French daughter, the honeymoon, Madame Levitt actually picking out the property that is there, that we have the actual date where they sunk the well, and we also have in this diary, this handwritten diary, the first piano being played in Orange City on Christmas Eve, even though it was broken off the steamship. So we have found the complete diary has been located, which is quite an amazing event. The last piece was found, again, in an abandoned house in Orange City, just a few blocks away. I don't know if I mentioned that. We're also going to be showing a photo that was found in an abandoned house. So history exists. So this is the Connecticut Club in 1906, just a reunion. This is all review. I apologize. And here is that picture that we just found in an abandoned house, which is the most complete picture we have of 5 generations of the Levitts. This was taken on Levitt Avenue in the property just around the corner here. What's very unique about this is the most complete picture we have of the Levitts, and right here, this gentleman right here, we have his diary since he was 11 years old. So it's him whose diaries we have, who owned property, obviously, here and married the French woman. But the person we're talking about tonight is not in this photo, and we're going to talk about why she's not in this photo. And she's one of the most important women. Some would argue she isn't the most important woman, but I would say she is in Orange City history. And we're talking about Helen Andrews Thompson. And a little brief background are, again, the Levitts went from Portage, Wisconsin, and then they decided to move to Chicago to get into the fruit commodities business, because oranges and fruit coming from the South after the Civil War was over was big business. But the Levitts had the misfortune of settling in Chicago in a very specific place in downtown Chicago when the Great Fire happened. So after the Great Fire happened, they ended up coming down to Orange City. They survived the Great Fire, but the American history seemed to follow these Levitts wherever they went. So Helen, who we're talking about tonight, these are her parents, Edward Andrews and Nellie Andrews. Edward Andrews, as I've talked about in review before, fought for the Union in the Michigan Army in the Civil War, was taken prisoner in a brutal battle, one of the most brutal battles of the Civil War, was a prisoner of war, was in captivity in the 2 worst POW camps you could be in, Libby Prison and Andersonville, and survived them. And this is his wife, Nellie Andrews. This picture was taken, and we're reviewing again, I apologize. We know this picture was taken in Portage, Wisconsin. She actually wrote his obituary because it was reported he was dead. And then again, as I've said before, He turned out alive, and there she is in her wedding dress. So these are her parents. They ended up moving to Detroit. He worked for customs. She became a music teacher. This is Helen's parents. And right here is the earliest picture we have of Helen and her older brother, Fred. Why Fred is important, if anybody has read or has a copy, and I encourage people to buy a copy of Our Story, the Orange City book that's sold. You can buy copies anywhere. There is an article, a letter by Fred in there, talking about what it's like to grow up in Orange City and Orange City Elementary. So he's also in the fabric of this story. Though he grew up in Michigan, he spent a lot of time here in Orange City and at Levitt Avenue. Helen starts out her career. She graduated early from high school, by the way. She's a well-educated woman. She started out her career, and I'll go quickly, as an opera singer. And this is her debut performance in Michigan. Then she became very, very successful. She had a voice like Cher or Toni Braxton. She had that range. She was quickly hired, taken on, and trained in Chicago, and then hired on into the Boston Lyric Opera Company. She was known as a diva, but back then, diva was actually a good thing. It's not the thing you think now. She became a leading opera singer and was touring all over the United States, went to Europe, Canada, and went to this very exotic place you've never heard about called Hawaii back in the day. That was a big deal back then. So you can see she was performing, was well-known, opera singer. And then while she's performing, she meets a British tenor opera singer named Walter J. Thompson. They sang together in the Young Opera Company. That's where they met and married in the year 1900 in New York City. Here's some highlights about Helen. And Helen was a very modest woman, even though she was performing on stage and then coming to Orange City and wintering here with her husband. And a lot of this is review, but this is important. She was a VIA member. She was your postmistress, which back then was a presidential selection. It was a big deal. She comes from a family of people who were postmasters, the Levitts. I have a typo, I apologize. She was she was in the League of Women's Voters, a representative. It turns out, we just found a news article yesterday, was on the executive committee. She did a lot of charitable work on behalf of the poor and the city itself. There's two, for example, if you go to the Volusia County Courthouse in DeLand, there's 2 giant oak trees that are there. She planted those. She was deeply religious, and she was especially, a lot of her volunteer work is she played the organ and sang at the Congressional Church, the historical Congressional Church, and so did her mother. Her mother was the first to play. Her whole family was musical. And even as she got older, she continued to perform on stage and around the United States. And what's very important about Helen is I can see a lot of people probably saying, well, who cares about some old, dead, rich person? Well, Helen wasn't a rich person. I've seen her will. She actually gave away her home when she died and all her assets to her friend who was in financial need. So she didn't give it away to just her family. Her home went to someone who needed it. This is, we don't have to reflect too much time on the slide, but this is just a brief rundown of all of the accomplishments, or just some of the accomplishments of Helen. This is the last known picture we have of Helen and Walter. Walter went to England to go see his family on a ship and died. We don't know where Walter's buried. He never came back, so unfortunately. Oh, how did this get here? Okay, cool. I didn't know that was added. Well, this was the new picture we just found yesterday from the Miami Herald. As you can see, here are the board members of the Florida League of Women Voters, And there are 2 women from Orange City and VIA members that are on the executive council. Here is Helen, and here is, I cannot remember her name, I apologize, ladies of the VIA. But I know she's related to Dickinson. But this was a big surprise, that there were 2, these are the Florida representatives of the League of Women Voters in 1930. A big deal. Big deal. Women didn't have the right to vote until what, 1917, 18? We're only talking about a handful of years later. And look at that. You have 2 women from Orange City on the executive committee in Miami. Oh, I didn't even know I uploaded. This is great. This is the better version. Sorry, I shouldn't say that on someone's obituary, but here is Helen's obituary. And as you can see, she passed away very modestly. You would think she would have this large obituary, but you can see it's very, very small. She lived in Orange City and served Orange City for 28 years. I also wanted to mention, I mentioned it before, Helen and Walter were specially invited by Queen Victoria and King Edward, Prince Edward, who became King Edward the 7th or 8th, I can't remember right now, for a special command performance. Their opera singing was so good in England. And I also should add, I think I may have forgotten, they had no children. So their house on 244 North Leavitt Avenue sits across from Orange City Elementary. And we've always wondered, why does that house sit across from that property? It's always been kind of a question. It could sit anywhere on that property. And as we are facing the destruction of Orange City Elementary, as I said, my talks are not for sadness, they're for hope and goodness. Is something good came out of this. We discovered, well, I'll just give you the surprise. I want to congratulate anybody who went to Orange City Elementary, to congratulate all you Roadrunners. Helen sat on the board and was responsible for designing and constructing Orange City Elementary. We didn't have any idea about this. We wouldn't have known about this except for the destruction of the school and them salvaging this stuff like that. Now it makes sense why 244 North Leavitt Avenue sits across the street of Orange City Elementary. Anybody who went to Orange City Elementary, I would say anybody who's an Orange City resident, is Helen's child. You are all Helen's children, and I congratulate each and every one of you. Because you could have a worse mother than Helen. She's a very good example of what it is to be a wife, a mother, an independent woman, a business owner, and a darn good American. I almost cursed, I apologize. I think I've given on these 3 talks plenty of evidence, and I've probably talked way too much about this property and this street. But it is vitally important that this council understand why I am here often talking about this street. This street and these properties have been ignored. And it is very important that it gets included into Orange City. Now that the school is gone, Helen's house is the last bit of property that connects Orange City, the school. That's it. Helen's house, that's it. Helen built her house. Helen helped build and design Orange City Elementary. You start losing more houses, you start discounting what's in or out of your historic district, it's over, and you've lost all your flavor. And I'll just do a quick aside. I'm also appealing to the Volusia County School Board. We'll see where it goes to see if that, when the school gets demolished, that the new play field, hopefully gets named after Helen. That would be really nice. I could use everybody's support on that, but I'm not here to politic on that. And I thank the council, and I thank everybody's time.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to number 3, citizens' comments. Before we get into citizens' comments, I just want to stress again that this will be your first warning. If you go over your minutes and things like that, or if you disrupt decorum, then we're going to ask you to leave. Lori Scotton?
Good evening, Laurie Scotton, 836 Arowana Drive, Orange City. Good evening, council and staff. I'd like to read some Facebook posts that the mayor has been posting under her official Kaylee Marks Orange City Mayor page. I find these extremely unprofessional, inappropriate, hurtful, and they are targeting private citizens. For context, this first post was done on, I believe, April 15th, and it had to do with a gentleman on Orange City Proud, which is our community page. I understand a lot of people don't use social media, but a lot of people do, and we have one that's specifically for Orange City that a lot of us share information on. And he had posted the link to the last city council meeting because he was talking about the public works debacle and what happened there. So my response to it was, so they voted against hiring a third-party law firm to investigate Kelly. Really, they would all be essentially investigated. That's interesting. In other news, I'm glad the rest of the council had the decency to approve the buildings for public works. Those poor folks don't even have bathrooms right now. Mayor Marks, under Kelly Marks' Orange City Mayor page, came back and said, so glad you lost the race for mayor. You have no clue what it takes to do this job. All you care about is your little witch hunt. Stop wasting everyone's time. It's not high school. It's more important to worry about city business than trying to spend your every day figuring out how to get rid of the mayor. You want the taxpayers to pay for investigating me? I'd rather, I see better places to allocate tax money. Now that's very unprofessional to under your page. Maybe if it was under a personal page, I could understand, but that's, wow, that's like a really bad look. So the next one came 3 days ago. Again, this is on the mayor's official city page, Kelly Marks Orange City Mayor. Hello, everyone. For anyone who is seeing all these videos from James Madison Audits or Mark Dickinson, these are videos that he makes to capitalize on other people. Every time you watch these videos, he makes money. At least that's what I heard. I heard a rumor that he made $13,000 on the video about me. In the movie world, one would get a cut of that. In the political world, I get harassment, no royalties. What's wrong with that picture? I make approximately $15,000 a year as your mayor. Although it's his First Amendment right to voice his opinion, don't you think it's ridiculous that someone can follow you around and tell one side of a story and make $13,000 on it? I wish I had that much time on my hands. Stop watching his videos.
Thank you. Carrie Donaway? And this one's regarding training.
Yes. Do I need to state my name and address? Carrie Donaway. I live in the Historic District, 347 West University Avenue. I have a written submittal as well that I'll be providing for all of the council. This is in reference to council communication training. Obviously, we need more. Let's see, I say here, good evening. I understand training is being provided on P-card and expenditure procedures. That is appropriate. But residents are still asking why training is provided for purchasing cards while repeated communication controversies remain unaddressed. Many citizens have witnessed public emails, social media remarks, and unnecessary conflicts that damage confidence in this city. Poor communication creates division, harms morale, damages reputation, and can expose taxpayers to avoidable legal cost. If training is necessary for card use, it is certainly necessary for public conduct. Strong leaders do not resist improvement. They welcome it before consequences arrive. I respectfully request additional formal council training on professional communications, respectful conduct, public email use, social media boundaries, and governance best practices. Taxpayers deserve leaders trained not only in spending money, but in representing the public responsibly and professionally. I'm going to leave the letter. I believe I still have some time. So quickly, I'm gonna jump back.
I reset it.
Oh, that's okay. I saw the number on there.
I thought you were done, so I
That's okay, that's okay.
You want to stay up there? Because you're the only one that has the comments.
Yeah.
So the next one is blanket warning.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can go to that. Actually, I'd like to go to the independent investigation remark. Last meeting, it was suggested by Lisa Stafford that an independent investigation may be funded and voted upon to look into the city council's actions, just an overall blanket of what has been going on here. There's been a tremendous amount of public unrest and public frustration, very little communication coming back to the public in a public format of what the response was to so many accusations and proven documents. So, I respectfully request written clarification regarding refusal of any request for an independent investigation into matters affecting public confidence. That's your number one priority, council. This city's public confidence for your citizens, and you don't have it. Independent review can establish facts, protect innocent parties, and restore trust. I respectfully request written response to the following. I'm writing the wrong thing. Okay. There again, there is nothing to fear. Review helps. If there are problems, review helps. When outside review is rejected, uncertainty grows and public suspicion follows. And here I am. Why was that rejected? It is very much needed, especially for those seats that are up for vote. Residents should never be left wondering whether truth was avoided instead of welcomed. I respectfully ask this council to reconsider qualified independent review whenever trust in government is at stake. Confidence cannot be managed, it must be earned. And as far as the cost, there have been incidents where this city could come under legal obligation to defend council members and or mayor. It's gonna cost a heck of a lot more than an independent council coming in, or interview, or investigation. And I have a letter that I'll submit on that as well. I read some of it. What I was going to say before was that so often, well, not so often, I don't have time for this. I don't get paid for the little bit of time that I do get here. I know you get 15 grand for your time, but I'm not getting any. We're not getting response. It's like things are brought to light at these meetings and nothing seems to happen. I look for communications and responses to it, and it's just not there that I can see. So these letters that I'm submitting are requesting for each of my 3 topics this evening, are requesting response from you guys. Formal response, formal request, formal response.
time.
And lastly, blanket warning practice. This makes me crazy. To sit up here or sit in the audience and be given a blanket warning for what? And why me? It's just wrong. Residents continue to witness a practice where all attendees are broadly warned before citizen comments and may later be removed immediately if behavior is considered disruptive. What's disruptive? We know that the agenda in our ordinance does not really supply an adequate description of it. We sit in the audience scared to clap, scared to laugh, scared to do anything, or we're going to get booted out of the meeting. Public meetings should begin with openness and fairness, not presumptions. Warnings are most effective when tied to a specific person, specific conduct, and an opportunity to comply. Warning should be done individually once, and the second time given the opportunity to comply with it as an individual, and then if they're being disruptive, and have that defined so that we know, yeah, we shouldn't disrupt the meeting. But if somebody says something I agree with, I'm gonna clap, but not in these meetings. We're being so restricted by this council that citizens are afraid to participate. Participation has declined. Let's see. No one wants disorder, but order without fairness becomes intimidation. And we've heard this before from this council and this mayor, that staff is intimidated. Well, dang it, if the citizens aren't feeling intimidated as well too. I respectfully ask that the council adopt clear, specific standards of conduct, individualized warning opportunities, and opportunity to comply, and removal only when necessary for actual disruption and not bogus just because they're saying something you don't agree with or you don't care for. I have a submission for this as well too. And that's it. I've read different things in the ordinance. Some of them believe
So are
have to
you,
provide enough
well,
for
yes, you
everyone.
should be providing copies for all of council.
It's hard as a citizen to follow ordinances that are kind of vague and hard to read. Okay, there's, I think I've given it
Yourself, you can, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to number 4, consent agenda. We just need a motion for that.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any public comment on this? Seeing none, we'll bring it back for the question.
Councilmember Richardson? Yes. Councilmember Jarms?
Yes.
Councilmember Knight?
Yes.
Councilmember Tiampson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Grimm?
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford?
Yes.
Mayor March?
Yes, and the consent agenda passes. Number 5, ordinances, first reading, 5A, ordinance number 700. Mr. Waters, will you read that into the record, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is item number 5A, ordinance number 700. This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orange City, Florida, updating the 5-year schedule of capital improvements for fiscal years 25 and 26 through 29 and 30, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And that was the first reading, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Ruiz is presenting.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Council, respected members of the public, Joe Ruiz, Development Services Director. For the record, So today before you, as was read in the record by our city attorney, is ordinance number 700. Nice square number, right? They gave it to me and I'm like, cool, I like that. Every year with the CIP capital improvements plan, by state statute, we have to update this. Prior in years past, it used to be a requirement that it was a comprehensive plan amendment. Now the state over the years has kind of simplified it and said adopted by ordinance. It really is a document that lives year by year based on our budget, right? Based on what the city council approves on budgeting for capital improvements. And so it's really how is the city improving capital facilities, things that deal with concurrency throughout the next 5 years. So it's kind of a horizon. And so everything that we see and that you see in this ordinance and everything that is analyzed in the level of service document that kind of goes together. So when this gets submitted to the state, they have background as to how we got to updating these and what our analysis of our facilities are. So everything that you see is capacity improvement projects. Things get upgraded all the time, things get renewed all the time, but everything that we report really is capacity related. Is it adding capacity? Is it adding water capacity? Is it adding traffic capacity, transportation capacity, things like that. So when you look at that schedule, it is a 5-year breakout. Year 1 is funded within the current budget year, which is why, since we're currently in fiscal year 25-26, therefore we need to update that to match that 25-26, and then this one's updating it all the way to 29-30. So years 2 through 5 are going to be unfunded, right? Because the budget has yet to be approved. However, we do have our projections of what we're asking for and what we're needing. So level of service analysis for concurrency facilities is mentioned. And then there is, in our findings, current capacity to serve existing and planned populations to planning horizon year 2035, which is what our current comp plan plans to. Which, if you all remember, we had the year-based amendments, the comp plan amendments, first reading, that came to you all, which is to actually update that horizon year to also comply with state statutes, because we've got to have 2 10-year planning horizons, which we are currently going to be bringing to you all next month. Which actually takes it out. Originally, we showed 2045. The state said, well, it's got to be 20 years. We're in 2026 now. So we said, you know what? We're going to update it and take it all the way to 2050. How about that, right? And we'll plan even further. So you all will be seeing that horizon year updated to 2050 next month. When we look at population, when we look at all these facilities, really it's, are we able to supply the need for our current population and for the growth of our cities? And so in our city, I kind of was a little disappointed last year when Beaver sent us the update to the population numbers. They found that there was only 16, increase of 16 people or 16 residents. I argued that for the fact that Beaver's number per new home is 2.68 is the average, right? We have had definitely more than, I would say 8 new homes in our city, right? And so they have a calculation and they look at new meters and new connections to Duke and things like that. So I missed the window in all the transition last year. And so the good thing is they reached out and they said, well, the city can appeal next year, right? And so this year I plan on appealing that. I have all the background data for COs and for new homes. So we expect that number to go up significantly from the original 16 that they had anticipated for April 2025. In our current planning horizon, the projection for population was 17,929. Going into the 2050, we're closer to the 20,000 range as we update that and we look at those numbers. There we go. Oh, I went too far. All right, so one of the items that we look at in our capacity improvements and in our capital improvements is potable water. So our level of service is 300 gallons per day per equivalent residential unit. So that's essentially each single family home. Currently today, the city has 4 water treatment plants and also 10 wells. The ADD, so the average daily demand is 1.715 million gallons per day. And so that is a net increase. In the last few years, we actually were seeing a decrease, although we saw growth. And a lot of that was due to the piping improvements that were done, where water was kind of seeping out, and we had to upgrade our infrastructure. We've officially gotten to a point to where the growth has no longer, the net is now an increase, right? Because we continue to grow in our city. However, there is sufficient capacity both in our cup, which is 2.539 million gallons per day, and also in our water treatment plants. And so in the water supply plan that was approved back in 2023, we all know that the city is currently working on updating the utility rate study at this time. But there was reclaimed water expansion, the green sand filter that was successfully accomplished, the main water plant, and alternate water supply planning, right? So we know off of Kentucky, there's currently the well that's being drilled and studied at this time for additional water supply planning. So for sanitary sewer is a little different in our city. So we do provide sanitary sewer. However, the county is our wholesale sewer provider, right? So the ones that host the plants essentially are Volusia County. The level of service per day is 284 gallons per equivalent residential unit. And so the numbers that you see updated in this presentation and updated in our analysis are actually provided through Volusia County. So we coordinate with the county, we get these updated numbers. And so the average daily demand is 2.086 million gallons per day with a plant capacity of 2.7 over at the Southwest plant. So we are still within capacity, and so is the county. The Del North plant in the county is average daily demand of 0.262 with a plant capacity of 0.6. So we are also still within that capacity. The city currently is working on septic to sewer plan updates. I think that's with Joan Edmonds. But the current year projects completed within 25-26 so far are gravity sewer main installed along Clark Street, gravity sewer main installed along North Levitt, lift station along South Orange Avenue at Mill Lake is also under construction. Gravity sewer extensions have occurred on the west side of 1792 along Antique Alley, West University, West Central, and West Graves, and Hardin Avenue as well. And as you all know, if you've driven down Industrial, I'm sure the mayor knows, the Industrial Drive utility improvements are also underway over there in that area. So another aspect, another capital improvement element is solid waste, right? Thank God people come every week and pick up our trash at our homes, right? It's a need that we all have as waste is just something that we produce, unfortunately. The level of service is 6 pounds per day per capita. This is also a county facility, right? So ultimately, our solid waste provider collects our trash that gets processed and it gets taken to the Tomoka Farms Road facility over in Port Orange. So what the solid waste department of the county does is they send us a report that they get every year, essentially evaluating their facilities and saying this is the expected life of this facility. And so the closure date expectancy for the current Tomoka Farms areas of solid waste are July 2027. Surprisingly, this actually in their latest report extended the life, although Volusia County has grown and we have grown, the expected life of the landfill actually increased by a month, surprisingly. So I'm sure the county is doing some things to kind of reduce waste and reduce using up in the landfill. So in their report that was provided to us, Volusia County commenced construction of the Southeast landfill expansion, which fortunately estimates additions of over 100 plus years of capacity, right? So we're good for the next 100 plus years of solid waste production or generation. Stormwater really is managed through our land development code and planning and development services working really closely with our engineering department, stormwater division, and also St. John's, right? So many of the developments that you see, all of the developments that you see really have to go through a stormwater review. Our city has a code that's pretty protective. We've obviously had impacts through Hurricane Ian, Hurricane Milton that right? We can continue to talk about, unfortunately, how that impacted our city. But really, the city council took an initiative back in June of 2025 where you all updated the stormwater management master plan, which planned for the next, just the next 20 years or so of stormwater improvements to continue to improve our stormwater systems and improve what the city-owned facilities look like and will be to serve our residents. Currently, the Mill Lake pump upgrade in Volusia County is going through Volusia County Transform 386 with grant funds. And also Volusia County is working on 5 basin studies. The Poozer Pond one, I believe, is done, and that's it's completed. So really, they're working on Florida Hospital, Graves Avenue, Marshall Pond, Miller Pond, and East Rhode Island. And fortunately for us, a lot of those basins are shared. They fall within our city boundaries. And so a lot of that Transform 386, we've been able to see that come through. We've been awarded about almost $500,000 for the Graves Avenue elevation study. And then also we are working with our local mitigation strategy emergency management group through Volusia County to secure over $2.8 million for the actual Mill Lake pumps that will eventually take water and stormwater from Mill Lake all the way to the borrow pits, right? So fortunately, there's hope that all of those funds were ranked number 1. I think John's been working with that diligently with Pegasus. We're ranked number 1 with the county and the LMS to get funding through federal dollars for hazard mitigation. Public schools. So I know we saw a somber picture of the Orange City Elementary School. We've been including this one for quite a while now, and I wanted to kind of keep it up, right? Keep it uppity with the memory of the school. Partially because, as we know, with the demolition also came the renovations of the school and the new school building, which essentially added capacity to Orange City Elementary. So I don't know if you remember last year when I had this chart, there was a few areas of red, right? So when we look at level of service for elementary and middle school, the interlocal agreement with Volusia County that all the cities in Volusia County follow with the school board allows up to 115% of permanent student capacity, right? So if you have 100 student permanent capacity, you can have up to 115 per se, right? So with the Orange City Elementary improvements, they added over 200 facilities for permanent student capacity, which actually brought down their current utilization to 75%, right? So that allows for growth within elementary school to be able to serve future residents and future students that come in. And then also what you do see here too is what we add is our reserve seats. And reserve seats are projects that are in queue or that have been approved that cities, when I say cities, is because the Berry and the land also impact our student generation in the schools that are in our city boundaries. And so really all the schools that are impacted within our city boundaries or that we produce students for are listed, which are Manatee Cove, Orange City Elementary, River Springs, University High School, Reading Edge, and also Ivy Hahn. So with that capacity improvement, the county has essentially completed the $51 million that they poured into our Orange City Elementary School for that. Fortunately, as you can see, all of our schools, based on permanent capacity, are within level of service. So that's a great thing. Parks and recreation. Parks and recreation, really, this is one that I don't know that we really need to worry about from a planning perspective. We work with developers and we try to do a great job at them providing neighborhood parks. And so when we look at neighborhood parks, the level of service is 2 acres per 1,000. And then the community parks level of service is 4 acres per 1,000. And so when we look at our neighborhood parks, the requirement's 29.7 and we're currently at 97.32. As developments come in, because a lot of these amenities that they have, trails, parks, they're public access, they're off of public roads and public trails. We add those to our numbers, and so that number continues to increase. And then community parks, which the requirement's 59.46, and we're at a 75.2 acres. So partially also, one thing to consider is that there are county parks that are not necessarily counted within our city numbers, which are within our corridors, right, and within our city limits per se, or in the unincorporated, which we know like Amory Bennett. And then the county is also working on expanding that facility across the street on Veterans Memorial Parkway on the east side, within that, north of that Duck Lake and south of Rhode Island. So there are major plans that the county is working on for that. The Parks and Rec Master Plan focuses on redeveloping existing parks. That was approved several years ago, I want to say 2017. And Valentine Park was in there and it was, and has been and is in our chart here, funded for redesign and improvements. The recent approval, and is what you see here, is the Coleman Park redesign and upgrades that was approved by City Council on August 12th, 2025. Transportation, topic everybody likes to talk about. I've always learned that growth means traffic, right? No matter what analogy you use, whether it's a business, whether it's a church, whether it's roads, as cities grow and as anything grows, it produces traffic. So the level of service for all state, county, and city thoroughfares, except Volusia County, are E. In Volusia County, limited access SIS facilities, which is intermodal system, strategic intermodal system facilities, like 1792, is a LOSD. So it actually has a level higher service, right? 2021 average daily trips and critical road maps and level of service failures are listed as you see here. You may ask why those numbers say 2021. The county is currently working on, I got an email either today or yesterday, I couldn't remember, as I was fresh off the boat, right, coming back to all my emails. They are working on getting all of the traffic impact analysis of vested trips or projects that have been approved and vested. So they are working on updating these 2021 numbers. But as we can see, Graves Avenue from VMP to Kentucky is failing. There was a 2024 three-lane improvement completed within that corridor there. That was actually FDOT that did that improvement. Veterans Memorial Parkway, there's a four-lane improvement that was completed between Harley Strickland Boulevard and Rhode Island. And in the report, I did get with the county to see what their status is. We did look at their capital improvements plan. The county currently is working hard on getting the connection and the extension from Graves all the way up to 1792. And then they're also going to be starting on design of expansion of Veterans Memorial Parkway from Rhode Island up to Graves, right? So they're working hard on those things. And then the extension of Rhode Island over into Deltona is on their 5-year plan, priority plan. However, that is not funded at this moment. And so when we look at other improvements, Rhode Island and Levitt intersection, the roundabout construction, FDOT has committed those funds. We are very, very close. We anticipate construction to begin in May 2026. We're working out some things with FDOT to have our pre-construction meeting set and going, and hopefully that'll be early May. I-4 is obviously is a state interstate, and then they plan on adding lanes in their design phase fiscal year 27 and 28, right? So that design is anticipated to start 27, 28, and so that'll be a good thing for our area. County currently is designing, as mentioned, the VMP widening from Rhode Island to Graves and extension to 472. Enterprise in 1792. Are we happy it's all done? So a lot of people were complaining about this improvement as it was under construction, and I put a big completed stamp on here. I got notification from FDOT the other day that they are getting ready to pretty much just close this out. They're just working on final paperwork. And so this is really good to see this improvement here, where they really redid the geometry of the intersection there. If you've traveled it, it's much safer. It's much more controlled. There's less unpredictability with pedestrians walking across through what used to be there. So I think it's really a good improvement. And also, if you remember, there was CRA funds committed to make those mast arms, right, painted black and look nice and shiny. So that has been completed. And then West French Avenue, this is another one that we are working on with FDOT. The LAP agreement, if you all remember, was approved on January 13th, 2026. And so the city we're anticipating notice to proceed hopefully by this summer. We're working through their process. We're working with their team to kind of get things finalized so we can get this one out to bid. So at this time, staff recommends the city council approve ordinance number 700 at first reading and schedule second and final reading for May 12th, 2026. And that'll go hand in hand with our ear-based amendments on that day. Any questions from the council?
Thank you. Any questions from the council? No? No? All right, we just need to have someone make a motion.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 700 at first reading and forward to the May 12, 2026 City Council meeting for second and final adoption hearing.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any public comment on this? Come on up.
I just have a question for Joe. I was wondering how they're going to connect the sidewalk on West French with Worley Trail.
So if I may answer the question, so the trail extension for Medium French, so if everybody remembers, it's been a long journey on trying to get French Avenue Trail connected all the way from where it was to Blue Springs Park, State Park. So that'll be a 12-foot shared use path on the south side of French. So where it ends over at Valentine Park, it'll transition on the south side all the way across over to that Worley Trail segment. So we'll kind of fill that gap there that exists today with a 12-foot wide shared use path.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the question.
Councilmember Jarms,
Yes.
Councilmember Knight,
Yes.
Councilmember Tiomson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Grimm,
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson,
Yes.
Mayor Marks.
Yes, and ordinance number 700 is approved at first reading. Moving on to 6, public hearing ordinances, second and final reading, we have none. Number 7, resolutions, we have none. Number 8, discussions and action. 8A, consideration of special event requests for the use of Valentine Park for parking for scheduled events at Blue Springs State Park. Lizette Santiago.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Okay. So the city has received 2 special event applications, Spec 01264407 and Spec 01264408, requesting the use of Valentine Park for overflow parking associated with events held at Blue Springs State Park. The first one is called the Blue Spring event. That will take place on October 30th and 31st. It's the weekend from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. This annual Halloween celebration features haunted trails, guided moonlight hikes, and eerie boat tours, with ticket sales supporting the park. Due to the event's popularity, the organizers are seeking to expand attendance by increasing ticket availability. The second one is Save the Manatee 5K walk. It's the second annual Save the Manatee 5K, and that will be held on November 15th from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. This event aims to raise awareness and funds to protect imperiled manatees and their aquatic habitat. Following the success of last year's race, organizers are proposing to increase participant capacity. Staff recommends approval of special event application 01264407 and 4408. There's no financial impact, and that's it. This is a proposed parking option that I got over to Blue Springs. And he approved. He's going to get about 400 spots with this, 250 in parking area number 1 and 150 in parking area number 2. And I just kind of did a little trail with how the buses will come in and then, drop, and because they're going to have transportation too. And that's it.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Any comments? Mr. Waters, can we do one motion for both special event numbers, applications? And just state them in the motion?
That'd be fine.
Okay, so
For
we just need
time, for efficiency, that'd be fine, yes.
okay, we just need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the special event applications SPEC-01-26-4407 and SPEC-01-26-4408.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any public comment on this? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back for the question.
Councilmember Knight,
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Grimm, Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson, Councilmember Jarms,
Yes.
Mayor Marks.
Yes, and approval of special event applications SPEC 01-26-4407 and SPEC 01-26-4408 are approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 8B, approve amendment number 2 to contract P099-19, online permitting software upgrades for compliance with Florida statutes section 553.79, and approve budget amendment resolution number 429-26. Joe Ruiz.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, respected members of the public. Joe Ruiz, Development Services Director for the city. So before you today is a request. I normally don't have to do these. Being in development services, usually people are submitting requests to us. So today I wore my best sports coat to come before you all. Really, it was just my wife's suggestion to change my coat that I was using. But the online permitting implementation request is being brought to you today. And so I just wanted to kind of let you know, give you some background on where the city is, what statutory requirements are, what we've done, what we've attempted, and so where we are that has led us to this day. So statutory compliance with Florida Statutes Chapter 553 is necessary. House Bill 1059, which updated the language in 553.79, was made effective on October 1st, 2021, signed into law by Governor Ron DeSantis, which required all local enforcement agencies which issue permits to provide online permitting services, including submittals, payments, and permit statuses to be posted and available for access on our city websites. And so I kind of wanted to kind of give you the statute language in the slide and for all to see. When you read this paragraph, it's a really loaded paragraph when it comes to the requirements and the demands that fall upon cities when this law changed back in the day. And we know hard copies were the requirement. You would submit those plans signed and sealed with an official stamp. And so when you read this paragraph of the state statutes, hard copies is only a secondary option at this point. Cities must provide for online submittals, online payments, and permit status on the city's website. How that's done, cities have an option. You can do it essentially via PDF or via large file transfers, or you can have a third-party software that provides that service for you. The building official may, upon discretion, ask for hard copy as a secondary submittal, but again, it's only secondary. Currently, what the city is compliant with in regards to the statute is online payments. We were able to work with our finance team, who's done a great job at helping us kind of navigate through some of these items. And so we have on our online, on our website, we have a portal for payments for our permits and also our development applications. That really is a temporary patch when we look at everything because it is another third-party source that we use. And it deals with both our staff and finance staff having to reconcile that and make sure that payments from one system are posted to another system. And it kind of gets redundant and really tax staff, multiple departments to do this, which includes building, planning, and finance. So when we look at the current permitting workflow challenges, so today, if you call our building department due to one, staffing, and due to our functionalities and capabilities with our current permitting system, hard copy submittals are required and are manually routed, which cause delays. So I've worked in places like Deltona that have what I'm proposing to you all today, where essentially applicants submit their permits online and magically the system itself creates a new permit number, so the staff member doesn't have to sit there and put that information in and create that permit number. And it kind of it automates a lot of the processes, which helps cut down on a lot of information and a lot of repetitive data entry and duplicate comments that occur. And so when we look at duplicate comments, it's sometimes you know, right now the way it's reviewed is it's kind of reviewed in its own silo. So the building department gets permits per se, they review it, it gets transferred over to fire reviews, they bring it back. There is coordination that occurs within those reviews, but currently there's no system to do online review, which is the way of the future and the way the state is looking for us to go. And really, there's no opportunity for, say, the fire marshal and the building official to sit down on at their own respective computers and kind of look at plans together, unless they have it open on their screen and they've got to use Adobe and things like that. Part of the challenges is time-consuming plan stamping and correction letters. Other than using Adobe PDF, where you can create stamps, currently our software doesn't allow for digital stamping of approval. So realistically, a permit comes in, we review those permits. Once they're ready to get stamped, fire department stamps them, our building department stamps them. If it requires planning review, planning stamps them. And then the building official at that time has staff or himself can scan that in, right? Put it in the system. We have the approved scanned document, and then that gets provided to the applicants. As we'll kind of go through in a little bit later, everything will be digital. Everything will be done digitally, and so we won't have to do that redundant scanning that we currently have to do today. And also, we currently have to do letters, or correction or review letters that are individually produced through Word, and then also gets sent to the applicants via separate emails. As mentioned, it kind of limits interdepartmental coordination. There's no real concurrent review other than until the plans make their way through departments. Yes, we can attach plans via Energov in our current setup, but again, it has to be reviewed through Adobe, and if you're going to make comments and things like that. Frequent applicant inquiries and incomplete resubmittals will be cut down because currently today we've got to deal with people, and if they don't have all their paperwork, unfortunately, that gets sent back, depending on how deficient their application is, and so there's a lot of that back and forth that the system would cut down on. So just some previous attempts. The city staff, when I say the city, I mean staff has not sat idle. Really, it's been a coordination with development services, planning, building, and our IT administrator over the year since the signing of the bill in 2021 to attempt to launch an online self-service portal. So in your agenda item, we have shown that there was a previous amendment to the Energo or to the Tyler contract back in 2022, and that was to work towards getting an online system launched and integrated. And so we tried that back in 2024, and unfortunately, it was not a success. So if you see the anonymous quote at the bottom there, the quoter will stay anonymous. They say we continue to try. We continue to try to improve our system and get this compliant. So when we looked at it and we tried to launch that, the customer interface included in the current service package is not suitable for online customer use. We worked back and forth with IT to say, hey, can you create an interface that when someone comes in and submits their online permit, It's user-friendly, it's easy to use, because what we have really gives a lot of the back-end information. It asks for impact fees, it asks for occupation of the building and things like that that are really all already laid out on the plan and determined by our plan reviewers. And so anyone kind of going in there, we did get multiple complaints from people when we tried to launch it, and they said it was overwhelming. What do I fill out? What don't I fill out? And so it was just really confusing, and we decided, you know what, let's just shut this down and retry again. And so also with the current online permitting software that we do have that's currently stagnant, staff would need to rely on Adobe Suite for digital review and approval. So kind of this proposal today will integrate both intake and plan review and coordination. So we did want to kind of give a comparison to who's using this and what does it look like and what does our current configuration look like. And so when you look at, we got with Tyler Technologies, they gave us several municipalities that are working towards the e-reviews as well as DigiPlan and kind of rolling this out. And so we compared it with the city of Kissimmee, because Kissimmee has successfully launched it. They're using it. So when you look at their system, they've got automatic impact fee calculations that the system does based on the square footages and based on the use that the people put in their system or in their application. Development information. I should have been able to spell development right, but I don't know what happened there. And then the attachments, right? They can put their attachments. And so here's the sheet that you can see that looks like a one-pager and easy to kind of navigate. And then lo and behold, here's the city's long list, which has people select impact fee classification, select the building code occupancy, provide the fire code requirements and attachments. And so I just wanted to kind of blow it up a little better for us to see here. Anybody kind of going in there, it looks like a college application that you're filling out for the University of UF, right? You've got a whole host of things that you've got to go in there and fill out, which unfortunately don't really pertain to the applicant. It pertains to staff on the back end. So staff, in shutting down the current configuration that we have for the online self-service portal, we explored a couple of different options. Statute does say it doesn't have to be a third party, it can be PDF, right? So we looked into alternative one, which is online website portal for applicants to submit a PDF application form with all supporting and required documents. And Becky was working on this, God bless her heart, before she retired back last year in June. And one of her commissions to me was, Joe, get it done. Get it done, Joe. So working with our new building official, we tried to get it done, but then we realized there's a lot of work that goes into doing that online PDF portal. So when you look at the website portal for online permit fee payments and permit status would also have to be created. So it's not just submitting the permits, it's also having a payment portal, which, like I said, we've created a current bypass. But then also the statute requires that we update, and it's available for someone to look at, the current permit statuses of every single pending permit. That is quite a task. We get about 1,000 building permits intaken every year. That's kind of our average. If you remember the state of the city, we were looking at about 370 development applications and planning applications and about 1,000 plus building permit applications. So when you look at that alternative demands a full-time position solely dedicated to process applications, processing payments, and updating permit statuses. So that would be literally someone's full-time job. They would have to intake that PDF digitally, process it, route it through to the departments for review, also be the person monitoring the payments, and then they'd also have to work on daily, I'd assume, right, updating the permit statuses on these permits. An estimated staff member at an executive assistant level is $66,000 per year. And I put the asterisk because if you all remember last budget season, we did request a planning tech position, right? So this would be in addition to the planning tech position that truly we need in our department. The other alternative was a large file transfer link. So, you know, things like Dropbox, where you can kind of create those links, put everything together and send it to the planning department, and building emails for receipt and processing of the application. Unfortunately, again, this still doesn't satisfy the online payments or the online status requirements, and it does not satisfy online payments. Oh, I said that twice, so I just wanted to emphasize that. And then the asterisk there, it also demands a person to intake those, download everything, process it in the system, create the permit, transmit it out for review. Once the review is taken care of and the application is approved, they would have to then download the approved documents, stamp them, scan them again, and then send them off to the applicants. I just kind of want to give you a day-to-day of what we experience and kind of what we try to work around, and truly, if we went with alternatives, what that would look like. So the solution in working with our IT administrator, putting our heads together on a staff level, and also working with our representative over at Tyler, is DigiPlan and eReview online permitting system. So what this would accomplish would be fully integrating electronic plan and review platform, real-time multi-department collaboration, advanced application intake management, automatic audit trail with decision record, and embedded GIS for zoning and parcel verification. So people can actually go in that system and when you're going for your permitting and see what your future land use or what your zoning is, and what confirm your address as you're submitting those applications. I do want to note, this is not just benefiting development services. This is something that if we are able to roll out, benefits our fire department, benefits our engineering department for reviews, and it also benefits submittals of business tax receipts, right? All of these things get automated, all these things can be produced and can be generated to essentially better our customer service throughout the city for all these applications that are currently programmed in what's called our EnerGov permitting system, right? Or EPO, Enterprise Permitting and Licensing. So this is a holistic improvement that not only goes for building permits, but also goes for any other application that gets processed in EnerGov. So i.e. special events, special event permits. Anything you can think of that is a permit application would go through this online permitting software. So staff did some evaluations and research, looked at studies, looked at information given by the consultant. And so literally here we have a breakdown that we provided to you, and there was an extensive memorandum, a memo that we included in there just to kind of give the benefits and the pros and cons of what we're dealing with and how this will benefit us. And so on average, when we talk about these close to 1,500 applications that get submitted every year, and again, that didn't even include fire permits or business tax receipts, the estimated average review time saved is 6 hours per application. And so when we look at that, it's about 1,800 hours per year. And if you calculate it on a 0.9 of a full-time equivalent of an employee, we kind of provided the breakdown. And so when you look at our executive assistant, which is average 24 hours, $24 an hour, and then 150, and that is a plan and reviewer fee, right? So we went through our schedule for our third-party reviewer, and so really we're taking the value of what they quantify a review, plan review for, and building official salary, and so that would average about $150 an hour in that 6 hour saving. So essentially the annual impact of what we're saving would be about $72,000 a year in plan review time. This would make our reviews up to 50% faster. This would shorten approval process because it would do away with a lot of the manual entry, manual scanning, manual processing that we do, and reduce submittals. And when we say submittals, it's all that back and forth that staff has to deal with the applicants and give guidance, because essentially the system will reject certain things and it's going to be built to say, you still don't have this, you still don't have that. These are requirements that you need for your submittal. So it'll kind of also reduce that friction sometimes that occurs with people submitting, because the system will kind of give that guidance upon submittal. And so when we look at the 3-year financial projection, and I want you to remember the $66,000 staff member cost that would be reoccurring, right? That would be in a position that would happen every year, 66,000. So the quote that was submitted in the packet and submitted in the agenda for the first year cost will be $85,600. So in amending that existing contract to bring us up to date and into statutory compliance and something that is very efficient, we're looking at $85,600 for the first year. Remember and recall that the time that we anticipate saving in staff time and reviews is $72,000, right? So it's a net benefit. So it's a difference of $13,600 in the first year. But then as we go on, really the return on investment of this is going to pay for itself. It'll allow time or free up more staff time for us to do other things and be more effective and productive on other things and a lot of the redundancies that we're currently doing. And so after the first year, year two, now we're looking at $23,500 reoccurring costs to maintain this in this contract proposal. So it drops significantly, and that first year really is for implementation hours and building the system and things like that. And one of the coolest things of it is that because there is AI assistance in this software, we can upload our land development code in there. And so our review comments and our reviews can be done right through that system. We can link it to land development code sections and give people guidance directly on their plans and directly on the software. So when someone goes up and looks up their permit or looks up the development application, they can see our markups, they can see our comments directly in the system. So like I said, it'll be very user-friendly, very time-saving, and then not to mention also code enforcement cases and things like that will be built into that too. So that's another arm of the city that'll benefit from that. So the overall benefits, it'll align the city processes with Florida's digital government and resilience initiatives and statutes. It'll support the council's strategic goals for innovation, transparency, and customer service and upgrading our systems. It'll improve staff capacity to keep up with the growing permit volumes that we have. It'll enhance auditability and compliance with automated version tracking. It'll support Development Services' goal to improve permit review time enhancing satisfaction with city services. And it'll support the Building Division's goal to integrate software that will assist in automation and tracking of building permits to enhance efficiency for customers. And one thing or a few things to add, we actually, Devlin sat in a meeting with our property appraiser today because they're also working on digitizing some of these processes that they have. So as you all know, we report to the property appraiser our permits, and they take that valuation and that information, and they upload it into their systems, right? And so that helps our tax revenue and our property tax value. They actually use Tyler. They use Tyler software, and that's what they're advancing with to digitize things. And so we were talking about maybe the opportunity to where we can have an interface where our updates and our reports will actually get updated directly through Tyler interfaces with the property appraiser. The other thing too, we talked with Matt, IT administrator, and he mentioned and talked about to us the benefits of keeping our current provider as opposed to adding and looking at alternatives for another third party. And really, we've got a contract. We have a provider that has the capabilities to provide these softwares, provide this training. They have tools for things we need. And so really it just makes sense to make an amendment to our current contract to kind of accomplish these goals and make this happen. So the technological advantages is direct integration with our current systems, as mentioned. Embedded GIS, so the GIS, there will be mapping functions and zoning functions and things like that related to properties. And then also automatic tracking or version tracking. So one of the cool things, and I guess is, I'm a plan review geek, right? With this software, you can actually overlay plans and you can see what's changed and you can see what the differences are on the resubmittals, and it'll kind of highlight those for you. And also you'll know exactly what was submittal 1, what was submittal 2, 3, and so it'll track that and give a good guide. So with all that being said, with this nice sports coat jacket that I've put on today. I request that the city council approve and authorize a budget amendment via resolution number 429-26 to proceed with implementation of online permitting software in compliance with state statutes and in alignment with the city's strategic plan goals.
Thank you. Any discussion from the council?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. So, as you stated, that we have a current software provider and contract that can incorporate the DigiPlan. It is part of their suite.
Yes,
thank you.
yeah,
That
yes.
would be able to incorporate into that.
Yeah.
And I see that in the budget amendments that we're trying to make for capital improvement, that we're pulling out the citywide phone system replacement and using that monies for that.
No, Mayor. That is a net savings. So that money's available because
The
the project came
32.1.
in much,
Perfect.
much less.
Perfect, okay, so that was that, and then also what I'm hearing is that you don't need that person anymore?
Well, I'm gonna go back.
60,000, 72,000, I'm just saying.
So the asterisk person, sorry, Kayla, I keep pointing at you. The asterisk person, we still need. The planning technician person, we still need. The alternatives would have required an additional person just for online submittals and things like that for tracking.
Thought we were saving something there, but.
Aw.
okay. All right, and then I guess it's just coincidental that the 23.5 happens to be the same amount that we would be going into year 2 and 3 with, as we are getting from the savings that we had from the emergency disaster relief. Is that what you're saying? Is that just coincidence?
No, that's the cost, the reoccurring cost. So the first year, you have the 85.6, and then after that, we have the support for the system. We have it
Yes.
for all of Tyler. That's 23.5 for the outliers.
Right.
So that's why it goes down.
That wasn't my question.
Oh, I
Next-
missed it.
That's okay. On the emergency and disaster relief, the 23.5, the Milton repairs to Monastery
Oh,
Road, is that
so
just
sorry.
coincidental?
Yes. That would be coincidental.
And when do you plan on implementing or trying to implement it?
So if we're able to get this approved and we can move forward with doing the amendment to the contract, essentially their lead time is about 30 to 60 days. And then so we've looked at pretty much from this date on, it'd be about a seven-month process, assuming everything went smoothly. And
Okay, so take a little bit of time. So what we have in the queue right now is still going to be a little cumbersome until we are
Yes.
fully and 100% on board.
correct. Yeah, implementation takes some time. So we're hoping, I'm an optimist, we're hoping by beginning of the year, so either end of winter, beginning of spring, 2027, we'll be able to launch this to the public.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the council?
Yeah, I do one thing. So Joe, this software will enable us to deal with the state, what Tallahassee wants, they can
Yeah,
upload information?
it'll comply with state statute requirements for online permit, absolutely.
That'll get us above board?
Yep, that'll get us above board with what their requirements are in the statute.
Thank you.
I do have one other question.
Go ahead.
So when we first implemented this, do we know I don't know if we were even dealing with it in 2021. What did we actually pay for what didn't work? Do we know that?
Yeah, so in 2022, we upgraded for the online service portal. So in having the benefit of working for Deltona, I saw a successful rollout that they had over there. Essentially, the interface and the functionalities that we amended our contract for were not equivalent to getting us to this place that we need to be, or where the city, for example, where Deltona accomplished. So there were limitations to it, which is part of that interface issue that I told you with the public, that when the public submits it, and then there wasn't a lot of the automation that's needed to cut down on a lot of the process that we currently
So
do today.
we got it and then it just kind of like laid dead in the water because it really wasn't working?
So yeah, we worked on launching it, and then in 2024 when we launched it, it was a bust. per
It
se.
failed,
Yeah.
okay.
Any other council comments? Okay, first of all, I'm glad you're doing this because I've had several contractors complain about our permitting process. You know this, I'm sure you hear it. And just that we're not up with the times with other places, like you said. So I'm glad it's actually coming to fruition. And you said the business tax receipts are included also? Would
Yeah,
that be included?
so anything we have a permit module for will be included in that.
So that'll be less on their clerk's office, so I'm sure they'd be happy about that. And PDF versus Dropbox, not everybody has Dropbox, so that's good that you would go with the PDF side of it. And then also, you were talking about the position, and I would assume that would be Lulu that does the permitting when you walk in. Is that who it is usually?
So yeah, but it's a combination between Lulu and DAR
Yeah,
currently
yeah,
today.
right.
If we would have done those alternatives on top of adding a person
Yeah.
to maintain that, because realistically, when we look at these softwares, the softwares are for the city, right?
And I just wanted to comment on that with the council, that I feel like whenever I go in there, they're so busy with that. You know what I mean? They got piles and piles of paperwork to go through, so I think this is great that we're going to digital. And then, of course, the ROI is just, 63% in 3 years and 100% 5 years. That's a no-brainer, council, right? So thank you for doing all the hard work, and I'm in favor of that. So with that being said, we would just need a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the online permit software upgrades necessary to comply with Florida statutory requirements. Authorize the execution of the work order as quoted by Tyler Technologies in the amount of $85,600, and approve budget amendment resolution number 429-26,
I second.
appropriating the required funds. I'm sorry, I heard squeaking going on.
I second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any public comment on this? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back for the question.
Councilmember Tiamson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Grimm,
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson, Councilmember Darms,
Yes.
Councilmember Knight,
Yes.
Mayor Marks.
Yes, and the motion is approved to the online permit software upgrades. Moving on to 8C, the new business item, Councilmember Tiamson, council travel, training, self-audit, council discussion. Did you want to start it out, Councilwoman Tiamson, since it was your item?
Yeah, the reason why I pulled it up was just for transparency, and then we discussed 2 meetings ago that we would have someone from accounting or maybe the city manager present.
Well, staff did distribute the records. We do not know what you would like to discuss. So we provided the records, and at this point, the discussion, in our opinion, based on the information we have to date, it's between you all, because we have provided that information.
No, I
Oh,
understand. And so, like 2 meetings ago, when we talked about, it, you said, what would you like? And I said, well, it'd be easy if someone just did a PowerPoint or something, just to kind of show transparency to the
Oh,
community.
well, we have it.
Yeah,
We
So
can
that's all.
run through. It's the same thing that's in
Perfect.
your agenda, but on a PowerPoint.
just for everyone else.
Understood.
Good evening.
Devlin Moore.
Finance Director. All right. So at the March 24th council meeting, Councilmember Tiamson asked that we bring this forward in the effort to be transparent. And the report that we provided summarizes both travel and training for fiscal year 2024-25 and fiscal year to date 2025 and 26. I will note that the fiscal year 2025-26 is through March 18th, so the report doesn't capture anything after that. Staff provided the reports to council on April 13th and hand distributed them on the 14th. Here are the amounts for each council member. I can run through those numbers if you like. Mayor Marks, in fiscal year 24-25, spent $5,224 in travel and training. Vice Mayor Grimm expended $2,479. Councilmember Stafford expended $4,702. Councilmember Tiamson, $3,975. Councilmember Richardson, $4,443. Councilmember Darms, $2,466, and Councilmember Knight, $2,085. Then fiscal year to date for 2025-26, Mayor Marks is currently at $271. Vice Mayor Grimm is at $707. Councilmember Stafford is at $3,378. Councilmember Tiamson is at $2,344. Councilmember Richardson is at $636. Councilmember Darms is $386, and Councilmember Knight's $451. The report that we provided broke out the transaction history and also provided a ledger detailing those transactions by councilmember, vendor, and category. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have, or if you'd like
Do you
any more
have that in
information.
case the public is wondering what those amounts are, just not just, do you have any of that on PowerPoint?
I don't have the detail on the PowerPoint.
Okay.
But I'd be more than happy to provide my business card to any citizen who would like that information. I'll forward
Okay.
it to them.
Perfect. And just one other question with regard to that. I do know that the DeLand Area Chamber of Commerce, the leadership course through Stetson, that was included at $1,200 is included in my amount for $2,344 for fiscal 25-26. And I'm assuming if you have someone else that's going to that, you'll be transferring those monies out and it wouldn't be an expenditure under my name, correct?
So in light of your, withdrawing, we are just waiting for the refund.
Perfect.
And until that refund is received, it shows.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks, Devlin.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
I'd also like to say, if people would go to the Orange City, Florida government page or to OC Connect and go to the agenda item, they can also review the ledger information with the detail.
Very good point. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the council?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A lot of training and travel, huh? Okay, moving on to 8D, City Council Facilitation Service with Raftellus. Christine Davis.
Mayor?
Good evening. Tonight's item is rather respective. With regard to our current strategic plan that was just distributed, our current strategic plan will take us through 2027. It's designed to be forward-thinking and cover multiple years. The document that was distributed is a document that indicates, as of 3/19, kind of a progress report on where we are with our existing strategic plan. It's time for us to consider how to move forward. Is it necessary to do a strategic plan this year? I attended the 2025 ICMA conference. That is the International County City Managers Association conference in October of 2025. At that conference, I did a lot of networking. As you know, when we go to these conferences, that's one of the huge benefits. And I met a Mr. Roderick. He's actually the town manager of Atherton, California. Through talking with him, he shared a lot of what his city does with regard to strategic planning, board retreat, and so forth. So based on that, I went to the Raftellus setup in the exhibit hall and talked to their representatives about what's your program look like. From there, they came in, they talked with staff, and they went back and did a proposal. That proposal should be an attachment in your agenda. So what we're looking at is where do we go from here? We do this annually. Some years we have taken off, so that's totally your discretion. I did take the proposal from Raftellus and shared it with the mayor. We met. She went away with it, came back to me. We had some conversation, and her directive was to bring it back for the entire council to see it and to consider, what does the city want to do? Where do we want to go? So I'll take you through the Raftellus Facilitation Services proposal. and we will have dialogue on what exactly, how to move forward. So the Raftellus Facilitation Service Proposal is a proposal that provides a $30,000 fixed fee. The initial series runs through May through July of 2026. That fixed fee includes all travel materials, 4 facilitated sessions, plus 2 quarterly follow-ups. The proposal is centered on restoring shared purpose, clarifying governance roles, and creating a disciplined cadence for strategic discussion. Raftellus, whoops, I'm flipping and not turning. So the recommendation and decision context. The recommendation is, if agreed, you could approve the Raftellus proposal for the City Council Facilitation Services in an amount not to exceed $30,000 and authorize the city manager to finalize and execute the agreement. This proposal includes leadership alignment, interviews, facilitated sessions, and quarterly stewardships. The expenses are, as said, are fixed with a $5,000 non-refundable deposit. It's proposed that the first 4 sessions would be held on Saturday, but could easily be shifted to Friday or a Monday. And obviously, it's based on a consensus. The engagement is designed to lower the temperature before the group sessions begin, reestablish role clarity and professional decorum, shift council time forward to shared priorities, and future-focused governance. So the roadmap is you have a project alignment in mid-May to the end of May, which is a deep dive diagnosis with the leadership team to refine the blueprint and interview guide. The second phase is a discovery interviews. That's done late May, possibly early June. It is confidential one-on-one conversations with the mayor, our council members, myself, and the city clerk. Then you go to the third phase, which is your monthly facilitated series or your board retreats. These are 4 short, high-impact meetings focused on common ground, decorum, communication, and priorities. And then your final phase is a quarterly strategic stewardship, and that's 2 sessions of ongoing check-ins to review progress, maintain team health, and keep the council future-focused. And this is all extrapolated from that proposal that Raftellus presented. I'm not ad-libbing, I am merely restating the proposal. So a little deeper look on the monthly facilitated series. Each session builds from personal motivation towards norms, motivation toward norms, communication, and strategic priority setting. The foundation is established as why Orange City? We identify common ground values and review interview themes. The we is the shared legacy, and the program says that it defines the decision-making process and develops a governance charter. And each one of these has a summary report generated. There's the Real Talk session at Strengths and Vulnerability, where you're familiar to that terminology. It's something we identify previously. It sets communication and public decorum protocols for meetings and staff interaction. And then the fourth, the pivot, passion to priorities. Agree on the most important issues for the next 12 months and beyond. Then you get into your quarterly sessions. It celebrates wins and reviews the top 5 strategic priorities against progress data. It scans the horizon for new legislative, economic, or regional partnership issues. It checks in on the team health, revisits the governance charter, and take a policy-level deep dive on major issues. Potential benefits for the city is living strategic roadmap updates quarterly rather than a plan that sits on the shelf. Public progress report templates to communicate accomplishments and counter negative impressions. It builds a better budget alignment with building agreement on priorities ahead of formal budget sessions. It says budget seasons, it's budget seasons. And then improve staff stability and morale through a more predictable, professional governing environment. The proposal frames these sessions as a way to move from fixing the past to owning the future. I believe in here, this is just a high-level view of the proposed dates we've talked about. Then you have the important part, and that's your fee breakdown. So you have your Phase 1 alignment, 5,000, Phase 2 interviews, 6,000. You move into your 4 monthly sessions at 11,000, and then finally your 2 quarterly sessions are 8,000. For a total 30,000 investment or commitment. So project leadership is, the lead facilitator is Cheryl Trent. She's currently at another Sunrise, the city of Sunrise, at a meeting there and couldn't be here. But she's worked very closely with me to try to navigate this presentation. She did review it and weighed in on it. She comes with 35 years experience in local government and consulting and facilitation. She's a former town manager, assistant city manager, and assistant county manager. She's a certified facilitator focused on governance, strategy, and team building. And then day-to-day lead, she's assigned as the day-to-day lead and the city's primary point of contact. And then her director is Nancy Hetrick, which is the vice president. And why Raftellus? It's a public sector specialized in local government and utilities. And you may recall that they were our utility consultant previously and have been before council many times. This is just a different piece of what they offer. Senior level service, the proposal emphasizes direct involvement from experienced consultants rather than junior staff. And this is one thing that I found very interesting in talking during the conference, and that was this is done throughout all the states. It's not a Florida thing, it's not a California thing, it's Raftellus throughout. And the methodology links facilitation, strategic alignment, and implementation of discipline. And they also note that they supported more than 700 organizations last year. So I'll repeat. This is open dialogue for where are we going for this year. I know there's some big ticket items out there. Given we have an election, this council could see one new council member come November. This council could see more. November's quite far away, but not too far away. So the availability for options is quite a number of options are out there, and we're just looking for direction on how is the best to proceed based on the council's direction.
Council, any comments?
I got one.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
We got 4 people coming up for re-election potentially, so we could have basically almost a new board come November.
Yeah, it could be 1 change or
Could
4
be-
change.
Right,
And
so,
that still leaves 3 of you here to work together. But we're at a pretty good spot. We don't have to do anything. Your current strategic plan takes you through 2027. So it's just what direction do we want to go? And you're right, we could have 4 new council members, sir. Absolutely.
to spend that kind of money for people that aren't gonna be here, I don't think that's a good.
Fair?
Good.
I'd like to weigh on that. It's basically the same thing we were talking about with leadership training, right? Why go?
Yeah. If
Same
you're not
thing.
gonna be here. after
I
November.
started it in October and I didn't know. I wasn't looking out that far.
Yeah, I have to say that
Councilwoman?
I don't see the point in spending that type of money with an election year coming up. And-
Nobody's addressing a chair here. It'd be nice.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Excuse us. Sorry.
Go ahead. I was gonna call on you anyway.
Oh, sorry. Well, like I was saying, I don't see the point in spending $30,000 worth of the taxpayers' money for something when we don't know who all's gonna be up here come November, if we're gonna have existing people, if we're gonna have new people, whatever. Maybe it's something, see going forward, but just not yet.
Fair enough.
Maybe potentially bring it back after the first of the year if you feel that this is what everybody needs. That's,
Certainly.
So I want to make it clear that, so you had said this earlier, but they might not have caught this. So every year we do our strategic planning, right? Then that's what she gave us. And we pay approximately $5,000 for Herb to come out. Herb Marlowe to come out. And then we sit down as a council and we decide what our goals are, right? And that's how this comes about every year. And then we also have public participation can actually sit in the back, I believe, and listen to that, or they can't intervene with what we're saying, but they can listen, and we do a workshop, if you will, right?
Yeah.
For $5,000. $30,000. Did you say that she couldn't be here tonight?
She couldn't come for the presentation part. When it finally got on, she was already booked.
Okay, because I was going to say, if someone wants $30,000, they should be here to present, not you. But the other thing is I agree with the council, $30,000 is just way too much when we don't know what's going to happen in November. So maybe we should wait until, we see what happens in November here. And then the other thing is I think this is more like a training, a team building exercise is what you explained to me, because our council is kind of broken right now. So, I'm not sure that this exercise is going to really help right now. And so we can only hope for November something will change. But I do want to say that it was a good idea, but I just don't. It's a lot of time too. Did you notice the time you have to put in for these trainings? You know what I mean? It's what'd you say? Maybe 5 or 6 Saturdays or something like that.
4. It would
Or
be
4.
4. Yeah.
4.
And those are about 2-hour sessions.
Okay.
So
versus a $5,000 Herb Marlowe.
8 hours.
6
6 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say one day, and I say that because there's a lot of people up here that work, and it's hard to accommodate that. So that was just something else that I thought about might be,
Sure.
something that. Okay, anything else from the council? No? All right, so are we just gonna?
If you have direction, I'll take it. If it's, obviously, I don't see with the number of people who spoke,
Okay.
we're moving forward. So if there's other direction that you would
Yeah.
like to give, we're welcome. And that direction would be one of maybe 2 things based on what you've said.
Yeah.
One is, do we wait until after November and then set up the strategic planning and whatever else with that council? Or are you interested in exploring what Herb Marlowe's availability is and working with the current council to update? So based on, you've got 2 options, and it's wait.
So when do we meet with Herb usually?
It depends.
I mean, what month about?
I think March and April.
So we should be meeting with
I
him
could
now.
see what his availability
I mean,
is.
I'm just going to suggest to the council that we should always strategic plan every year, no matter what, because that's how we got all these things done for the city. It's real important to set goals. So I think it's important to say, yes, let's go ahead with Herb and spend the $5,000 like we've been doing, because we've been very successful with getting things done. But then we should also hold off until November and see who's on the council and let them decide whether we should do this or Herb or whatever. I just don't think it's right for us to make that decision when it's going to be, we never know what's going to happen. And that's, go ahead, Fran.
I only have to go by the West Volusia leadership that I went through, and that was, a couple months, and it was well worth it. And this kind of reminded me of that, and that was helpful, and I can see this being helpful, but I agree. I think we need to wait and see who's going to be here and then go forward. But I would recommend it. I like the sound of it, because we need to, we never stop learning.
No.
And, things change day by day, so it'd be worth it, definitely.
Anything else from the council? No? Okay, so do you have good direction?
No.
Okay.
In
Yes.
order to have
Do you-
direction, you would all.
Do you need a head nod?
Head nod to do what?
To,
hold off till the first of the year?
Table it.
Oh,
To
well,
ta-
if you don't take any action, I have all the direction I need. I will bring it back after the election.
Bring it back after the election, and also about Herb for the.
Well, Herb is what I need direction. If
Yeah,
you
that's
want
what I'm
me
saying.
to
Do you-
reach out to
A
Herb.
head nod
I
okay for
need-
that? Okay, so can we have a head nod on still doing our strategic planning with Herb Marlowe?
1, 2,
Okay.
3,
And then we'll bring back this after November. It's council discussion right now.
Okay, I have enough head nods.
Thank you. Excuse me. No, citizens' comments are closed right now. We're having a council discussion. Thank you. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 9, report, city manager. Sorry, I'll let you sit down first.
Okay. So my first ask is the fire assessment fee. It has been on your Friday communication that we need to set a workshop up in May. We have 2 proposed dates. If you all have your calendars and are comfortable, I'd like to see if you got, if the 7 of you are available, and if not, how many would be available. Ideally, it would be all 7, and the first proposed date is Wednesday, May 20th.
We're 1 short.
Oh,
You got another one?
it's,
There you go.
Thank you.
my bad.
Thanks.
Sorry. Okay, so my first proposed date, based on the consultant's availability, is May 20th, Wednesday. Does that work for you?
Wednesday.
I got 1 thumbs up. I'll wait.
One thumb up. May
I don't have that date.
Is that during the day?
No, it would
Okay.
be in the evening,
What time?
6:30 or 6, if you guys wanted to get started.
It's not in this?
No, this is just me talking to you. I'll go through that in a minute. So the question is, for the fire assessment fee workshop, are you available on Wednesday, May 20th at 6 or 6:30 for the consultant to come in and go through the proposal for the fire assessment fee?
What time?
6 or 6:30?
She just said
Is there an alternate date available?
Yes, Monday, May 25th.
Which is Memorial Day?
That's Memorial Day.
Yeah, that's not a good date. She was available the whole week, and then we ran into problems. So at this time, if Monday, May 20th works, great. If it doesn't, or Wednesday, sorry.
Wednesday.
Where's my phone? I have her availability. There were problems. I think I was gonna have to go back to her and get other possible dates. And it's fair enough, 2 dates isn't necessarily, easy. So, on the holiday, we can't do. So, it's a little early. It's normally a little later, so. So I take it we're not all available? That's fine. What I'll do then is I'll get some more dates, I'll put them in a survey, and we'll send it out, and I'll work on that, and then let you know from that survey where we are.
I should have put a pencil.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do we all have to be available the same day?
For the public workshop, yes.
No, for the person that's coming, what is it for? Oh, she's gonna do a public workshop.
It's a workshop with council, which is open to the public, to discuss the fire assessment fee.
Assessment fee.
And there's a consultant coming in
Oh,
for that? Yeah. That's what she's asking, I think, right?
Same as the stormwater.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was a one-on-one like we had discussed before. or
No,
if
that's
this is
happening
something else.
before we get to
Gotcha.
the workshop.
I gotcha.
So I will send out the Survey Monkey, and we will work on alternate dates. Some items I attended with council, Manatee Cove School of Excellence, the award presentation. And that was with several council members. Bristol Manor groundbreaking, Vice Mayor spoke on our behalf. The volunteer appreciation dinner was excellent. I got a number of feedback, so thank you, Kaylee and the team. West Volusia State of the Region for the Mayor Forum. The 2026 Regional Valor Award Program, congratulations to our 3 nominees. That was Sergeant Kibbe, Chief Miller, it's a different sheet, it's not gonna be on there, and Chief Long. And then in the end, the congratulations to Chief Miller for receiving the Outstanding Performance Award. So, congratulations. Some upcoming big-ticket items are, in addition to the workshop we're working on for the fire assessment fee, you will be presented shortly with the utility master plan, followed by a utility rate study survey, along with, and that utility rates study will also be similar to the fire assessment. It's not a new program, but it's an update, so we may be doing a workshop on that. And then the general employee pay plan, it will be coming. And these all are gonna happen through May, June, and July in pretty fast order. So an update on the city manager report for April 28th. The Lansdowne sidewalk project, the fencing and a little bit of sod remain in the area of the retaining wall before they can work to close it out. Waste Pro, we're still monitoring. I do not believe Joe has heard from Mr. Johnson, who will be meeting with us regarding expanding our historic district. But I think he said it was gonna be in April. So we'll probably send a follow-up if you haven't already. Still pending notification for the PFAS grant application. With regard to the old school, elementary school, we had an email from Trish last week or the week before regarding moving the pediments to our Public Works facility. Ronnie is our primary contact, and he has been in touch with Paul, who is their primary, and we're just waiting for the call that will tell us the date and time that they will deliver them to our Public Works yard. They are only bringing them. Will be responsible for removing them, and staff has assured me, Ronnie and his staff have assured me that they can handle that. Regarding the Volusia County elected roundtables, that next meeting is to be announced, and the same for the subcommittee for the stormwater. A new item that was added on here is Orange City is teaming up with DeBerry and the Volusia County Sheriff's Office regarding e-bike local regulations. Based on what the state action that they took, it wasn't very much, so we are working together to look at some local regulations to help mitigate some of the complaints we've been fielding, highlighted around like the school area. We've had people injured with kids riding on them and knocking them down. But that was an initiative that DeBerry reached out, asked us to have a chair at the table, and we said yes. Our first meeting was March 30th, and then our next meeting is May 13th. That completes my report. Do you have any questions of me?
I have a couple questions. The Blue Springs Villas met with the HOA president. What was that about?
Oh, so we can't find any records where we accepted the roads. And so pending that, we may be bringing it to the city to accept the roads.
Oh, okay. And then I had a question about the last meeting, when we had the discussion about the modulars, and I know Chief Long had gotten up and spoke as an employee, and I thought he was speaking as the chief of fire, but what is his title now? I'm a little
He's
confused.
your acting public works administrator, I believe. It's got another title in there.
So don't we have a public works director?
We have a public services director.
Oh, okay, so he's not. Okay, I'm trying to get the title straight here, because I didn't even know that he was moving into that title. And when he was speaking, I don't know if y'all were thinking, but I was like, why is he talking about Public Works? I was so confused. And he was like, well, I know what's going on. I was like, wait, you're the fire chief. I don't get it.
Oh, no.
So
Sorry,
I had to put it together, and I just wanted to clarify that. So he's actually Public Works now,
acting
and fire chief?
Sam Pilcher is your acting fire chief.
Okay, so he's not right now.
Same thing I did when I
Temporary.
was city clerk, but
Temporary.
yet finance director.
Okay.
Very
Does everybody
very
understand that? It was a little confusing that night. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
City clerk?
I have no report at this time.
City attorney?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The last meeting, the council gave approval for us to file a foreclosure for the property on Strawberry Oaks Drive, and we have filed a foreclosure, so I'll keep you posted on how that goes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Any legislative update?
We have special session next week to talk about redistricting. I don't think the budget's been signed yet. There is a handful of legislation that may affect mainly Mr. Ruiz and his department, and I'm sure if the council would like, we'd be happy to brief you and give you a rundown on the handful of statutes in the future.
Thank you. Thanks.
Very welcome.
Any new business, council? Can't see.
I got something.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Last meeting on the 14th, we elected someone new to go into the historical committee. And then 2 days later, they had a meeting and it was canceled due to a lack of quorum. So, oh,
Sorry.
you have something on that?
Go ahead. Are you finished?
No,
Well-
he's still talking. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah. You have the
What I was gonna say is, possibly, maybe, we don't need the historical board. We seem to get more out of Darrell Victor doing a presentation. Seriously.
He is a
The historical board hasn't met in what, 6 months, 8 months? I don't even know when's the last time they met. So, either under citizens' comments or like Mr. Victor does, I get so much more knowledge that way. So that's what I'm presenting. I don't know how you all feel about that, but it seems we don't get nothing the other way. Haven't had in months.
Go ahead, Kim.
So unfortunately, we have not had a quorum for the Historic Preservation Board. At the last meeting, you did appoint a board member. However, state statute requires that we post those public meeting agendas 7 days prior to the meeting. So your city council meeting where you appointed her, it would not have met the requirements for the agenda posting. We technically did not have a quorum when we would have had to publish the agenda for the meeting. And then ultimately, if we would have published that meeting and that item came to council and for any reason it may have been denied or something of the sort, we then would have had to resorted to canceling that meeting as well, due to also not having a quorum. So we do plan to have a meeting in May, since we will have a quorum at this time. But that's currently why they have not had a meeting in a number of months. Because out of a 5-member board, I've only had 2 members, and I need 3.
So maybe the other thing to that is maybe we need to look into whether that's a viable thing to keep. That's,
So, Vice Mayor, are you proposing to bring it back as new business, to bring it back for discussion, to discuss if we should keep the historical board or not?
I don't know. I mean, could we do a head nod? How do you all
Because
feel
of
about that?
not having, you're saying not having,
Well, we haven't had anything
quorum,
in
yeah.
6 or 8 months. I don't know how long
Yeah.
it was.
so right now, before anybody goes, we're not discussing it tonight. It's just, do we want to bring it back to discuss it? That's how the new business works. So I'm not silencing anybody, it's just the way, that's the
Fine.
way it works.
We'll bring it back for new
Well,
business then.
it's not up to you, Vice Mayor, it's up to the whole council.
Oh,
So we would just need Mr. Waters, did you want to say something?
If I could just add to give it a little bit of
Yes,
structure.
please.
So your options would be to either sunset it or dissolve it. So
Right.
that's what the discussion would be centered around.
Okay, thank you. So we would just need a head nod if the council would like to bring it back for discussion on sunset or dissolve. Does that sound?
Or keep.
Or keep, sorry. I'm okay with it. Can I get a head nod, yes or no, please? Yes? Councilwoman Thompson?
I nodded yes.
Okay. Richardson, Councilwoman? Councilman Stafford?
No.
Councilwoman, okay. Okay, well, we're gonna bring it back.
That's all I have, by the way.
Thank you. And I just want to make it clear to everybody that it wasn't to bring it back to get rid of it, it was to bring it back just to discuss it. Okay? Thank you. Okay, any other new business from the council?
I have comment, if everybody's done.
Not until your comments.
Oh, new business?
Sorry, it's just
No
out of
new
order.
business.
It's only new business right now, yeah.
New business.
Just trying to follow the agenda, everybody. I'm not trying to, okay. So we move on to number 11, approval of minutes. We have none, or we already did it, I'm sorry. Number 12, council mayors and comments. Now we're in order. Councilwoman Thompson, would you like to go first?
No, I'll wait.
Okay. Does anybody want to make a comment?
Might as well go.
Councilwoman, which one? Councilwoman? Stafford?
Yes, I would just like to thank the staff for the excellent job they've been doing through the year. No matter what, I would love to thank you guys, and especially to our city clerk. You know, understand what she goes through on a daily basis. If not for her, we'll all be lost. And I do really, really sincerely appreciate all your hard work. I know it's getting to be a busy time schedule for you with elections coming up. Just bear with us, hang in there, we have your back.
Councilwoman Knight?
Pass it down. I've got this written out because I don't think I could probably say it from memory. I want to talk about the recent social media post made by Mayor Marks.
Hold on a minute. Can we have another one, please? We're short one.
Short one.
Sorry. But I haven't counted out.
Me too, I did it too.
Got
Thank
it?
you. Go ahead.
I need to talk about the recent social media posts made by Mayor Marks on April 15th, 2026, because they have caused confusion concerning the community, and I think it's important that we clear the air. The posts she made were from a Facebook account labeled Kelly Marks, Orange City Mayor, and when you use your official title, people assume that what you're saying is factual. Unfortunately, several things in these posts were not accurate, and I want to correct them so our residents have the truth. The morale buster is having to work in a trailer every day. That's not accurate. Fire Chief Ronnie Long spoke to the council in his capacity as an employee, and based on his conversations with staff, explained that they were supportive of the new facilities and were encouraged when they saw the plans. It's important to emphasize that these buildings are not trailers. They're commercial-grade, hurricane-rated modular buildings. They have a lifespan of up to 30 years and are designed to keep our employees safe. The plans presented to the full council show the buildings will be anchored to a concrete pad, what makes them even more secure during storms, especially hurricanes. Number two, I think they could have had a pretty nice building for $1.6 million. Just think of the renovation of the current building if they spent $1.6 million on that. City staff made it clear at our meeting on April 14, 2026, that the current building, which is a garage, is not a building that should have been or should be expanded, and the additions were added by staff need to be demolished. The building will remain a working garage once the additions are removed. Number three, I hope the council members who voted yes can sleep at night when the hurricanes start. This suggests that the council members that voted yes to approve the new plans for the public work buildings did not take their safety into consideration. This is also a direct attack on the council members that voted yes to approve the new plans for the public works building, which includes Vice Mayor Grimm, Councilmember Darms, Councilmember Richardson, Councilmember Stafford, and myself. These things matter because they mislead the public about what this council voted on and why. I also need to address another post the mayor made, where a resident commented on her original post and the mayor posted from her official Facebook page, Kelly Marks, Orange City Mayor, replied by telling her she was glad she lost, accusing her of being on a witch hunt, and suggesting she was trying to get rid of the mayor. That kind of language, especially from an elected official and used in an official capacity, is not appropriate. As elected officials, we must rise above personal attacks and set an example in how we communicate. Residents should be able to raise concerns, ask questions, or disagree with us without being personally attacked or belittled by someone in public office. When comments like that come from the position of mayor, it discourages people from participating in their own local government, and that's not how public service is supposed to work. Florida Statute 112.313 Section 6 prohibits a public officer from using their official position in a way that harms others or benefits themselves. The Ethics Commission has consistently interpreted this to include using the influence of one's office in ways that distort facts, target individuals, or undermine public trust. When the mayor posts inaccurate information from an account labeled Kelly Marks, Orange City Mayor, it carries the weight of the office. And when that information represents the decisions of this council and the facts she learned through her role, it crosses the line. This is not about politics. It's not about disagreement. It's about honesty, responsibility, and the trust our residents place in us. As council members, we all share the responsibility to uphold standards that protect public trust. I take that seriously, both for this council and for our citizens, and that means speaking up when something undermines confidence in the work we're here to do. Mayor Marks, you've already said you will not resign. Even so, I think it's important to be clear about my position about the standards our citizens expect from this council. For the good of the city, for the restoration of public trust, and for the stability of this council, I'm asking you to reconsider and step down from your position. Your public post made in your official capacity for your official Facebook page, Kelly Marks, Orange City Mayor, has had a direct and damaging impact on confidence in this council's work by misrepresenting our actions, attacking fellow council members, and discouraging residents from participating in their own local government. And I want to end by saying something. The Apostle Paul, when he was in prison, wrote to the letter to the Ephesians. Chapter 4:26 says, "And don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you're still angry, for anger gives a foothold to the devil." In verse 31, it says, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you." Thanks.
Anybody else on the council have a comment? Okay,
I do. Yep. So I'd like to read a memorandum. It's going to be to Mayor Marks and members of the city council, and it's CCing the city manager, Christine Davis, city clerk, Kaylee Burleson, and city attorney, Paul Waters. It's from myself, and it's dated today's date, April 28, 2026. The subject is formal withdrawal from candidacy for Orange City Council District Number 3. This letter serves as formal notice of my withdrawal from candidacy from the upcoming Orange City Council election effective immediately. This decision follows a thorough assessment of the current conditions within the city, including the conduct and operational dynamics of both staff and council. Those conditions fall short of the standards of professionalism, accountability, and effective governance that I expect and that the residents of Orange City deserve. I entered this race with a commitment to integrity, transparency, and measurable progress. I will not associate my candidacy with an environment that does not support those principles, nor will I participate in a process where those standards are not consistently upheld or enforced. I remain committed to public service and to advocating for a higher standard of leadership within this community. I appreciate the support of those who believed in my candidacy and vision. Please update all official records to reflect my withdrawal. I will provide an additional documentation if required. City Clerk Kaylee Burleson shall date stamp this document upon receipt and promptly forward it to Volusia County Supervisor of Elections in accordance with all applicable procedures. Respectfully submitted, Dawn Thompson. I'm gonna send an email right now, you'll get it.
well, that's sad. Anything else? It's a shame. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get back to regular business instead of all this other stuff that's been going on up here. Frankly. Excuse me. If you guys can keep quiet back there, we could finish our meeting.
Feral.
One more word out of you and you're out. You got it?
Oh.
Yes.
That's the word. Well, let me
Thank
get a
you.
better one for you. Resign.
No, thank you. Have a great night.
I will.
Okay, let's get back to city business. Okay, first of all, Lansdowne Avenue, I wanted to say I'm so proud that it's completed. I actually saw people walking on the sidewalk, and I wanted to say thank you for that to the staff, because I know it was a hard project with the stormwater and everything, and it's been a really great project that I know that we kind of, we're scared to do because it was a lot of money, but we're saving lives there, and that's what we're supposed to do up here. So I want to say thank you to the staff for that, and the council for approving it. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the chief. Congratulations, Chief. It was a real honor for you to get that award today for the Valor Awards, because all the cities were there at the Hispanic Chamber today, and it's a great event. So it was great to see that we had our three people. Congrats to them too, Kibby, Chief Long, and that's the three, Chief and Kibby and Long. And then also, I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Victor for the history. I have to say I agree with Vice Mayor that it's just it's great to hear from you, and I'm glad you came up and shared that today. It's great to hear the history. I think we all love the history here. Mm-hmm. And I know that, Kim Redding and Angela have helped you with that, so I wanted to thank them also. It takes a team to do things, and that's what we lack up here. So it's a shame, but I hope in the future we can pull it together, and you know, maybe we'll get better at being a good council again, like we used to be. I have to say I am very, very sad to see that Councilwoman Thompson's not going to run again, because I think she brings a lot to the council.
Appreciate it.
I think she has she does her homework and looks into things, so that's going to be a big loss for Orange City. And I know that some people don't think so in the audience, but that's just a very small percentage of Orange City. So I want you to not feel like, you know, you're not wanted here, because you were voted in by the people. Remember that, okay? Just like I was and everybody up here.
Absolutely. I'll still be at all the council meetings. Don't worry
So I
about
just
that.
wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
No matter what a small group of people thinks about me or you or anybody up here, the bottom line is I think we're getting things done up here when we have time to do our city business. And I'm proud to say that that's what we do up here. We depend on our staff to get things brought to us, and so that we can approve them. And you know, that's what benefits the citizens, not the riffraff. Okay, so to address Councilwoman Knight's letter, I'm not going to get too much into it. I am going to say that I'm not going to play into these Facebook posts. I don't want to play this game anymore. I already said this publicly. It was a witch hunt, and it has not ended. And it is not helping our city to bring forward any business here. So, you know, if you want the city to do things for the residents, then stop and let's be positive and let's get things done up here. Because as much as everybody else has a freedom of speech, so does the mayor. And they were facts. They weren't made up, okay? And so if you ask the Public Works Department, I'm sure not everybody in that department agrees with Chief Long. There was a few people there here that night that were not for it, but where's the rest of the department? We don't know what they think. So we can't go by a few people that were in the room. So I just wanted to point it out that we really didn't have the whole department here to say, no, we don't want that, or yes, we want that. We had to go with what we heard that night. I also want to say that I really would like for the council to address the chair when you're going to speak, because that's how we keep decorum. And when the audience screams out like that and does things like that, that's what kills decorum here. And that's my job, is to keep decorum. It's not to shut you all down. It's to keep decorum in this meeting. This is a meeting. This is not a show. It's not a show where you clap in an audience. If you want to be happy about something, that's great, you know, but we have to keep going and we have to get things done. And I think you all need to understand that we're trying to get things done up here. When you come in and disrupt or disrupt the decorum, that's why I do that. That's why I give that warning now, because it takes off time from having to give a warning and then to do that. So I wanted to be clear that I did speak with our attorney about that it was legal to do that. So I only do what our attorney tells us that we can do. But if you want to speak during public comment, absolutely you get your 3 minutes. That is your right to do that. But when public comment, when citizens' comments is over, I can't go out of order with the agenda. So I just wanted to explain that if someone wants to speak out there when we're on a different item, it's just not in order of the agenda. If you want to speak during citizens' comments all day long, we're going to allow that, and you have that time. So I don't want you to feel silenced. I just want you to understand how this meeting works, how the agenda works, and if anybody would like to run for office, now's the time to do it. And then if you win, you'll get to experience what we all experience up here, right? It's not easy. It's not easy to make everybody happy, but we try. And so, but we are people, and yes, we do have feelings, but this is not personal up here. This is business, and we have to get city business done. Thank you. Have a good night. Motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion, or meeting adjourned.